jump right in. There's over 100 million people on Twitter today. Are most of them wasting their time?
Probably, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of people singing the praises of social media. Is most of it just a bunch of hype?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It really is. Meanwhile, there's a few people who are doing, for the most part, really simple but powerful strategies and just exploding their businesses virtually overnight. Facebook has over 600 million users today. Right? Think about that. If Facebook was a country, it would be the third largest. It would go China, India, Facebook, the United States. Right? If you think about it, like, it's absurd how many people are on, active users on Facebook. And you end up with something that looks more like this. Right? Because here's the thing, driving traffic to your website is difficult. Right? Most of you know that, probably. It's not easy, it can be expensive. Meanwhile, there's 100 million people on Twitter. Introduce yourself here first, and then bring it back to your blog. Right? Introduce yourself on Facebook first. Introduce yourself on YouTube, and then bring it back. It's a lot easier, it's faster. I launched my book, I summarized it into 300 marketing tips. Okay? And I released those tips on Twitter as tweets. Okay? So I have a couple of them up here, right? Conversations are markets. Participation plus facilitation equals opportunity. More tips at my website. Okay, what am I trying to do?
Drive people to your website.
Yeah, I'm trying to demonstrate my expertise in the middle of a raging river, and if they don't care, that's okay. But if they do, they have a way to learn more. Okay, does that make sense? All of you could put together a list of 200 tips or 100 tips about whatever it is you do, right? You could do that in a weekend. And she has a little flower store. It's not a store, it's like a kiosk that she sells flowers. So we built up a local Twitter audience for her, easy to do. Okay, so she has some followers locally. And she has an alert set up where she gets an email every day with a daily digest of the people in her audience who tweeted the word, congratulations, baby, wedding, and a half a dozen other words. Right? And where appropriate, she responds to those people and says, congratulations from us as well. Come on in and get a free flower. And most people don't do it, but some do. And more than half buy something when they're there. Does that make sense? Because she's using the waste of time Twitter to find new clients every week. Right? What words can you search for? Right, just go to search.twitter.com. Search replaces the www. Search.twitter.com, and you can search for keywords, any keywords you want. Just play with it for 10 minutes. A lot of people, they've got their best stuff in their head. Maybe they just wrote it down. They're like, I don't want to give this away for free. These are my best secrets. This is what I get paid for. Right? I don't want to give this away for free. Here's the deal. The people who aren't going to hire you, they're not going to hire you either way. They're not going to hire you. Those people are not buyers. Right? They're freebie hunters who are broke and they're looking for free information and they just got yours. Who cares? The people who are going to hire you are too busy to do it themselves, and they need to know that you know what you're talking about before they hire you. This is a company in New Orleans, Naked Pizza, great name. Okay. Obviously they sell pizza. So they embrace Twitter as a marketing platform. They put a big sign. Here's the sign before they put it up. So here's their Twitter page, okay? And they gave an incentive, save 10% if you tweet your orders in. Okay? 68% of their orders are tweeted in. Why? Think about this. You get 10%, but guess what? I have 26,000 followers on Twitter. She has 500 followers on Twitter. If I tweet my order in, my entire following is notified that I just ordered pizza from Naked Pizza. Guys, the viral element here is baked in. It's guaranteed. Right? Does that make sense? If you incent people, how do you incent your existing customers to communicate with you through the social channel? They did a public wine tasting, $5. It was real cheap. We promoted, a bunch of people came. Okay, so they came in and they registered here, right? And they got their glass right away with their first pour. So there's wine in the glass, right? So they come this way, and here is the big banner of the logo of the winery, right? And the photographer is positioned right here. Okay. Thanks for coming. We're thrilled you're here. We'd love to take your photo. Is that okay? Right? Most people are like, sure. Click. But we're talking about happy people holding wine, yes? And the logo's right here. Okay, this is a good photo. Okay. we'd love to tag you. We're going to upload these to our Facebook page. We'd love to tag you. Is that okay? Sure, it's okay. Here's a piece of paper saying exactly how that's going to work, right? What happens? We end up with 200 photos, over 500 people tagged, okay? It goes into all these news feeds saying Elizabeth was just tagged in a photo, and people see Elizabeth sitting there smiling with wine in her glass and the name of this winery that they've never heard of. So Gary Vaynerchuk, who we're talking about here, is a crazy ADHD 31-year-old kid who inherits his parents' wine store called Wine Library.
Oh yeah, I got this one.
It was fascinating, right? And what does he do? He starts a video blog called Wine Library TV. And the kid's nuts, right? He's crazy. And he makes these crazy videos where he literally like eats dirt and chews leather to talk about the flavors in wine. The kids love this guy, right? He knows his stuff. He's just not your French, polished, right? So what happens? He increases his family business from $4 million to $60 million bucks in 18 months, a year and a half. Right? And by the way, 2/3 of the orders were online orders. His parents never once took an online order. Okay, 2/3 of 60 million is $40 million. This guy went from 0 to $40 million in online orders because he demonstrated his expertise in a very entertaining way in the middle of a raging river. So they manufacture blenders in Colorado. So there's a room in their factory where they test the blenders. And as the story goes, he went into that room one day a couple years ago, almost 3 years ago, and the whole room was covered in sawdust and chips of wood. Okay, and he's like, "What do you can imagine, right? What's going on?" And the guy's like, "We're just testing the blenders. How do you test it?" And the guy says, true story, "We blended a 2x4." And the blender lived, but the 2x4 died. The residential blender destroyed a 2x4. Right? He was like, "This is incredible. We need to get this on video." Right? They started this campaign with $85. Okay, 85 bucks. They started the series called Will It Blend? And they blended marbles, they blended chunks of concrete, they blended a full-size rake. This here is an iPhone. They blended an iPhone. Okay? And the thing completely gets demolished, right? It turns to dust, and they called it, on the video they said it's iDust. Guys, top line revenue, not profits, top line revenue, they didn't double, they didn't triple, it went up 500%, right? Because they demonstrated the capabilities of their product in a clever way in the middle of a raging river. Does that make sense, guys? Guys, it worked because it was remarkable. What do you do that's remarkable? Everyone here, in whatever business there's something you do that is awesome, or people are like, "Wow, do that again, that was cool." That's it. Get that on video. Now, you guys know what it is. Share that stuff. It may not catch on, but maybe it does, and if it does, it changes your business. Throughout history, people looked at who you were first. Okay? The source first, what you said second. Okay, it's important. Just think about this. Who you are came first. What you said came second. Okay? That's what's changed. Okay? Today, they look at the content first. That's a huge, huge opportunity. Right? So all the historical, I've got 28 years experience. Who cares? I went to Harvard. Who cares? I'm not saying it doesn't matter, right? It matters, but it matters less, right? What they want is good quality content. If you have good quality content, then they'll ask who you are second. And whether you like them or hate them, right? Whether you like them or hate them, totally cool, right? Either way, that's how this guy won, right? And if you don't like him, it's even more reason to kind of take note of what's going on, because he's not exactly the usual pedigree, right? This never would have happened 40 years ago. It happened today. Why is that? It is different today. This is a great quote. The future is already here. It just isn't evenly distributed yet. It's a great quote. It's true. The future's here. Some people are using it, most aren't. So you can get on that, hopefully, and take advantage of it. Guys, I love this stuff. You guys see that?